All right. My name is Elliot Rosen with Studio Binder, and if you've ever wondered what is B-roll and how do you shoot it, then this is a video for you. I'm gonna show you 3 pro tips on how to shoot amazing B-roll. Plan it, work smart, not hard, and maximize your time. All right, so let's rewind the clock. Back in the old days, filmmakers used 2 separate rolls of film. One was labeled A and one was labeled B. A roll can be considered your main story or subject, and then B roll is everything that you cut away to that bridges the gaps in your story. B roll can hide mistakes or jump cuts in the A roll. It visually tells your story, and if you're clever, B roll can be a visual motif used to enhance your story. Depending on your shoot, B-roll is typically shot MOS, which is just a fancy film school term for no sound. Documentaries often use B-roll as coverage. When it gets boring looking at the same dude drone on all day, they cover it with B-roll to keep it interesting. Now, on the other hand, a narrative film might use B-roll for a different reason, to enhance their script.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
Take this example from Spike Jonze's cyber romance film, Her. In this story, the main character has fallen in love with his Siri.
Last night was amazing. It feels like something changed in me and there's no turning back. You woke me up.
She's evolving too fast and they're starting to drift apart.
Are you leaving me?
We're all leaving.
When she starts to explain what's going on with her, they cut to this B-roll shot. This B-roll shot is used intentionally to visually symbolize how her consciousness is as intangible as that dust clinging to the wall. Siri, will you date me?
I don't really date humans.
If you're an indie filmmaker, here is my first tip. Plan it. Tip number 2, work smart, not hard. Professional films rarely ever shoot in chronological order, and neither should you. Does your B-roll shot involve an actor? Well, actors usually have really tight schedules, so you'll want to get that first. If you're limited on time, don't go across town to grab a B-roll shot. Shoot it in your immediate surroundings. Got a lunch break? Sounds like a great opportunity to get your time-lapse shot. Those are some really simple tips that aren't going to add any extra time to your shoot. Tip number 3, maximize your time. Use cinematic techniques like shallow depth of field, slow-mo, and gimbals to get the most out of your B-roll shots. These techniques not only give you amazing cinematic footage, but they're also really time effective. If you shoot your B-roll in a shallow depth of field like f1.4, it blurs any distracting elements in the background and you get that beautiful cinematic background. Shoot in slow-mo frame rates like 60 or 120 frames per second to turn 1 second of footage into 3 seconds. Try setting up your camera on a dolly or gimbal beforehand so you can get that cinematic camera motion. You can always choose to keep the camera static, but it's good to keep your options open. Okay, let's take an example. Let's say you have a script with a line of dialogue that reads, "I buried her under that tree." It's probably a great time to cut to, you guessed it, B-roll. So I'm gonna mark it down in my shot list. And depending on how you shoot your B-roll shot, it can have a totally different meaning. Let's say you want to make it seem like something evil is buried underneath there. I'll shoot this B-roll shot at a low angle and I'll dolly in very quickly to emphasize the importance of that specific spot. But let's take a totally different stance on the same line of dialogue. Let's say that was actually a sad, heartfelt line, and I want the audience to perceive this tree as a peaceful, final resting place. So instead, I'll shoot this B-roll shot at eye level on a wide angle lens to catch that sun flare. And then I'll add a little bit of dolly movement to give it some grace. Both of these shots are B-roll shots recorded with the exact same equipment and camera settings, but the shot specs are slightly different. With just a little bit of upfront thought and some minor adjustments to the shot list, they communicate totally different meanings for your story. And I was able to shoot both of these shots within 1 minute of each other because I properly maximized my time. So what are some of your favorite types of B-roll shots? How do you go about shooting them? We'd love to hear from you, so let us know in the comments. And now let's cut away to some Studio Binder B-roll.